Today I'm working on a couple things on the car that have been bothering me, and just wanted to kind of get it out there in case someone wanted to do the same thing. First of all, I got these aftermarket side markers, and this one's not quite as bad, but there's a little bit of a gap here, and these are flat, and I would like them to match the paint a little bit better, so I'm going to paint those. The one over here really didn't fit well. I got it over there on the bench. I'll show you what that looks like. Then I'm going to be fixing up the steering wheel cover that's kind of coming off. I didn't think this little thin double-sided tape was really going to work, and it obviously didn't, but even worse than that, look at this. Factory's even coming off, so I got to get that glued down, and then I'm repainting the piece here. I'll show you that. I'll show you guys how to get the steering wheel taken apart, and just so you guys can see this in video, that's how it's a little bit dirty, but that didn't turn out too bad, but the piece down here looked way too ricey. So these side markers, I've been through a bunch of different stuff with these. Here's the stock pieces. Here was the stock. This was the stock one that I rattle canned that did not turn out well, and it's got like a aftermarket fogged piece, and I tried to glue it in there. It turned out like junk. Here's the ones that I've got on there now, and check this out, man. Yeah, carbon fiber from eBay. Looks like something from the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. So anyways, got to be careful with some of the eBay crap you get. Awful. I found if you ask them if it's real carbon fiber covered and with epoxy coating so it looks wet, usually they don't write you back, and that's when you know it's junk. And then this piece here was what I was talking about. I actually took this out, and I'm going to do this today. I got a sandblaster. It's like, even with the walnut shells, it was like 140 bucks at Harbor Freight, and it works. I'll show you guys that. The original cover was just kind of peeling off, so I'm gonna blast that back down and put some flat black on it. If you guys are unfamiliar with how to get these off, there is a clip right there. So they're secured in 3 spots. One, there's a clip here. This clip here in the front, which you see would pop in and then grab on the back side. And there's also another one of these clips on the bottom. And then finally over here, once you get this out, there's a catch. Then that's how it goes back in. You would put that little lip right behind there, and then the rest it snaps in really easy. It doesn't come out so easy, and then it's just got a clip here. So as I mentioned, I had a bunch of different types of side markers here, and what I ended up doing is I took the smoked lens LED out of the crappy eBay fake carbon fiber ones, and put that into some decent actual marker housing, if you will. And so I'm kind of fitting these together and obviously painting it, and so I got a Dremel around this, and I just did this one over here. So now you can see this thing fits in there a lot better because it wasn't exactly made for it. But as soon as that gets painted, it'll snap in there good. It's not in there all the way. But show you guys what that looks like. Alright, so here's my setup. I got the DeWalt air compressor, obviously the sandblaster, hooked up a vacuum to it. And then I have this light that is extremely handy. It normally sits underneath the hood with these clips here, but it does snap out and it's battery powered. And what I did was I just put a wire off one of the screws in the back of this thing, because you will want light. So I got the pieces in there that I'm going to go ahead and get after. So I'll show you how this works. Alright, so I got my pieces here. I just hit it with some 400 sandpaper. With the sandblaster, especially with the soft walnut going on the soft plastic, it almost feels kind of like felt. The green tint on this piece is from the primer that I used the first time I painted those guys, but so that's why it looks a little bit different. I didn't worry about getting all the way underneath that primer because I'm just going to primer it again. But you do kind of feel like a rough, like I said, it almost feels kind of like a real small, fine felt. Anyway, I'm going to hit this with this guy right here, get these cleaned up, this grease and wax remover to get those clean so they can take paint, and both these are getting, we'll get a coat of primer. This is going to get flat black from a rattle can. I did it actual clear coat and spray automotive paint previously, and you guys saw what it looked like. That's actually what the look I want for these, so that they blend in better with the car. So I'm going to get these cleaned up, and then I'll show you guys once I start painting. So one thing that's going to be important once you get these all rinsed off and wiped down is you're going to want to do it with a microfiber cloth so that you don't get any lint on there at all. And that looks kind of cool. I don't know. It's not really my style, but I'm sure someone would rock that kind of like black-green camo look. If that's the look I was going for, that'd be pretty sweet, but unfortunately it's not. Anyway, I'm going to let those dry, get a coat of paint on them. Just want to show you how to pop this airbag out. There's a hole down here on the back side, a very tiny hole that will give you access to this point right here. There's a little bar, and it's on a spring, and you'll notice in the upper and left hand corners there, that spring comes in. And so if you can get a screwdriver underneath here, a flat head, and I'd turn it this way, so you're pushing up against this bar, you have more surface area to hit it. That will squeeze in these pins, and the airbag will just kind of pop out. So you can see here on the airbag, this hook and that hook over here hooks into So it just kind of literally pops back in. And then there's a plug here that you can unplug it with. Make sure if you're doing this that you do not turn your car on unless you have a scanner, because if you do turn your car on, driver restraint system, it'll throw code, and I can't tell you how long it's going to take before it clears out, and if it does. Hey, you have no airbag. Thank you very much. All right, so that's how to get the airbag out. And then this piece down here that we're painting literally just plugs right in to these holes here. There's like 4 mounting spots, 3 or 4. And then you got a 15 mil to pull this off. So it's pretty straightforward. All right, so when you get this bolt out, it's just, like I said, 1 bolt, 15 mil. And if you look here, you can see there's a notch right there in the steering shaft. And when you pull this guy off, you'll see on the back side, there's a groove in the spline. And that just lines up with this guy right here. So you won't have to worry about getting your steering wheel all funky to get those in there. So it's also worth noting that these plugs here fit into the steering wheel from the column. See those holes there? And you got these plugs here. So can't really screw it up that bad. So now we got the steering wheel off. We're taking this off again because this stuff's coming apart here. So I am just going to use some good old Gorilla super glue. Push those pieces or those folds where they need to be, hold them down, tuck them away. I don't have a video on the install of the wrap, but I'll post some pictures. Alright, I'm halfway done. I don't have a head cam or I'd record and fast forward through some of this stuff, but it's a lot better. This chrome piece is an aftermarket piece as well too, so that's just glued on there, but the edges are held down a lot better. I had to go around here, hit the back side, and then the back side of the bottom of the steering wheel, because there's nothing really holding that on. Again, that just Chinese thin double-sided tape. So this is what it looked like before, and you could see here, even with the airbag in there, you could see it was kind of popping out. So looks a lot better. All I gotta say is suede and super glue go real well together, and they also go very horribly together. You gotta be super careful, because if it even touches anything, it's ruining the suede. So you just gotta be really, really careful with it. All right, so I'm gonna paint this piece first because we're going flat black. Doing 800 grit sandpaper. It says you can do 400 grit, but I'm going with 800. Then we're going to wipe it with some grease and wax remover. And then I got this paint here, vinyl and fabric, specialty coating. It's flat black. We'll see how that turns out. Man, that looks pretty glossy to me. I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. All right, I had a little scuff on here, and I just hit it with some 800. And I'm thinking it's going to be okay. So we'll throw a second coat and see how it looks. And I'm just getting ready to paint the side markers. Wanted to go through this real quick. I've just got this Husky Home Depot air gun. and dual color jet black paint. So they recommend straining the paint, mixing it up. We'll be good to go. It's ready to spray. So I'm gonna get this thing set up and we'll spray the side markers. I sanded them down with 800 grit. Here's coat number 2. Okay, so here's how the side markers turned out with the base coats. And now we're gonna go with a clear coat. Alright, gonna put the airbag back in. First we've got this trim piece that we just got done painting. Again, this just pushes right in. Alright, that looks a lot better. A lot less shiny and ricer. So on this guy here, on the airbag, we've got this clip here. Goes right here. Got this bigger clip here. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. The plugs are in. Literally just snaps back into place. Let's see if I still get the SRS air. Yes, you do. I've got MHD clear codes and see what we get. Alright, I just cleared the codes. Sweet. So it looks like we're good. So make sure you don't turn your car on if you take your airbag out unless you have a scanner to be able to clear the codes. Here are the gloss painted jet black trim markers now. Hodgepodge from eBay. It's not the exact stock color, but I really cannot tell the difference. And I think the gloss black matches a lot better.